welcome to episode 7 of the Boopcast. We are your hosts, SheNoob and...
Cory.
Cory's happy because he got the
Team
Cinder...
Cream.
Yeah, Team Cream figures for Christmas.
I got
were
for
they
my
your
birthday.
birthday present?
Yeah.
Birthday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you get for Christmas?
Honestly, not that much Ruby stuff.
Oh.
Like, I got stuff for my room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is episode 7 of the Boopcast. Oh, there goes my phone. I have my Twitter notifications turned on just in case people ask questions, and that was actually just my mother, so that's fine. And so, Rooster Teeth decided to upload an episode of Ruby on Christmas Eve, or it was actually Christmas Day for me. So we weren't expecting to have to do a podcast this week, and I've been away over the Christmas break, and Cory's been busy, so we haven't been able to film this until now. We could have filmed it yesterday, but we were too tired. And things were happening yesterday. Speaking of things happening yesterday, before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that, sadly, a few days ago, a wonderful woman by the name of Carrie Fisher, who you all know as playing Princess Leia in the original Star Wars films and in Episode 7, sadly suffered a sudden heart attack and passed away yesterday in hospital. And then this morning, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, famous Singing in the Rain actress, sadly suffered a stroke and died just hours ago. So, my condolences to Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds' family at this time, Carrie's daughter and her brother Todd Fisher. It's very sad. The whole world is mourning right now. So, yeah, if you could send your love to Carrie and Debbie's family at this time. 2016's taken a lot of really good people from us. It's not been a great year for celebrities at all. George Michael passed away very recently, a couple of weeks ago. And Prince passed away this year, and God, I can't even think off the top of my head now. There's been so many.
Alan Rickman
passed away this year. Yeah. It's
not been a great year.
It's been a bad year for celebrities passing away. Christopher Lee. But unfortunately, it is that time in the lives of people our age where all of our childhood idols start to get old. But Carrie wasn't that old. She was only 60. But unfortunately, Carrie Fisher led a lifestyle that meant that her health would deteriorate sooner than it probably would have. But what a gem, her and her mother. Wonderful actresses and generally really good people. Carrie actually recently wrote a book called The Princess Diarist, which was all about her time on set during Star Wars filming. Yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to say something about that because I know a lot of us probably are Star Wars fans and are feeling the loss at this time. Having said that, so I'm going to move on to questions now. There's a few questions to do with Chapter 6 and 7. So Ethan Wood asked on Facebook to do with Chapter 6, do you think we saw Ren's semblance in this chapter, or was it just his training aiding him sensing the attack in the latest episode? And do you think Ruby has been affected in some way by Tyrion due to the red aura he emitted while attacking her? I'm going to address the second half first, because there seems to be a lot of people this volume that are new to Ruby and don't understand what aura is. The red like effect was Ruby's aura. Now, every person and living creature aside from Grimm in the Ruby universe has an aura, and it's a physical thing. Whereas previously we had thought it was more of a sort of philosophical thing. It's a physical thing that
Pyrrha said it's the physical embodiment of one's soul.
Yeah, it's the manifestation of their soul. So basically it protects them from bodily harm, from physical harm. And when it is depleted, then a person can be harmed, as we saw with Qrow in this episode.
And Tyrion.
Yeah, and Tyrion. So Qrow and Tyrion, those effects on them were actually just their auras being depleted. It's the only way to really harm anybody, unless you're Adam. Yeah, so that was just aura. And do you think we've seen Ren's semblance? I think it's been previously stated that we have seen Ren's semblance, but it's not been specifically identified. It was to do with Volume 1 when he fought the King, the Taijitu.
The King Taijitu.
Yeah. That was sort of his semblance at work there, which he has...
It's heavily implied that it was his, sonic, or the thing he did with its tooth into its eye.
Yeah. Some
but
kind of
also,
sonic
he
sort
did
of...
also kind of... He did have the, premonition of that thing coming, but as Pyrrha kind of stated in her speeches, have you ever... we addressed this last time, but have you ever...
felt like you were being watched without knowing someone was there, yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically kind of what happened there, too.
Yeah. So I think Ren has just got a sort of heightened... not so much heightened senses as he can just sort of detect things that other people kind of can't. And that's probably just to do with the way he was trained, I imagine.
He's a very aura-based fighter.
He is, yeah.
From everything we can tell, so he's probably has stronger aura than other people.
Yeah. Eternal Midnight Miss Flame on Twitter.
Wow.
Asks, do you think there will be a character huntsman huntress in the show with some form of disability, like being deaf or blind?
I hope so.
We still never got any answers to do with Fox from Team Coffee. He looks blind, certainly. But obviously he has some ability to... it's funny because the Jedi in Rogue One... well, he's not a Jedi, actually. The bloke in Rogue One, the blind guy, reminded me of Fox. Kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to see Rogue One if you haven't seen it. It's a good movie. Or do you think that technology on Remnant has advanced so much that people don't have to worry about hearing loss or not having the ability to walk and or see? I don't know.
I mean, I think that... Well, because, I don't know. Because, with Yang, her arm got cut off and they gave her a prosthetic. And granted, it's a very high-end prosthetic. But I don't know if they could necessarily, make, ears or, something like that. I mean, there's probably, similar to real life where, they can get, hearing aids unless they are completely deaf.
Yeah. I think that...
I don't think that those exist.
I think that creating a functional prosthetic arm is one thing, and creating a functional prosthetic eye is something entirely different. Maybe. I mean, there's the question of Ironwood. What exactly was the extent of his physical damage? We know that at least half of his body is mechanical, and he has that thing on his head, which we still don't really understand what that's for. But yeah, I think we'll definitely get to see more diversity in the characters in Ruby. Ruby's kind of special in that it does have a lot of diversity within its characters. Every character's unique in their own way, and I think Fox is the closest probably we've come to seeing an impaired character.
And technically, Yang is now.
Yeah, Yang is now.
Yang is a disabled character.
There's also Mercury, who is his legs, but that doesn't make him or Yang disabled, because they have replacements. But I hope so. We'll just put it that way. And Pisky and Waterbender ask, what's been the best fight scene so far this volume? This would also include the revamped Red trailer they showed us. The one in this chapter. Definitely.
Oh, you really think this chapter?
This Qrow versus Tyrion was the best fight scene so far this volume. Just because of the quality of the way it was animated.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that the character
I'd
short,
probably actually go the same.
the character short was excellent, but it just didn't have the caliber of, oh my fucking god, that the one in this chapter had. Like, it was a huntsman and this badass faunus just going at it, and it was awesome. I enjoyed every second of this fight. I really couldn't pick a flaw in it. I probably could if I looked hard enough, but I don't want to. So yeah, the answer is this one. We'll get to Qrow versus Tyrion, but that's all the questions we had for this week. Remember that if you want to ask questions for the Boopcast, I will just check my Facebook and Twitter really quickly. If you want to ask questions, you can follow us on Twitter and or Facebook at Cory11333, at SheNoob087, and the same on Facebook, Cory11333 and SheNoob087. Just checking the Facebook really quickly, and it's not loading. Oh, it hasn't even posted. Well, that's really helpful. Yeah, so you can go there, follow us, like us, and you can ask any question whatsoever to do with any chapter at any time you think of it. We will save them for later. So if a question pops in your head, tweet it at us, and we will address it on the next podcast. Now, speaking of next podcast, so we think chapter 8 is coming out this weekend. It is the new year this weekend, so, but that didn't stop them on Christmas Eve, so now we're really confused. So I think there will be one this weekend and then a World of Remnant the following week, I suspect.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think they're going to put up 3 in a row now.
You don't think so? I mean, that's how they used to do things.
Because I'm just thinking about RTX Sydney, because I'm actually going to RTX Sydney in February next year. And they've said that on a panel with Lindsay and Barbara, we're going to get to see the Volume 4 finale early, which I imagine is probably only a week early. And, like, we're just trying to work out how many weeks are between now and then, and it seems like there'd have to be 2 more World of Remnants if they're only doing 12 chapters before the finale goes up. But then there's the question of, are they only doing 12 chapters? It's all really unclear because they haven't actually posted any sort of schedule of any description like they did last year. Which is why also we thought they were going on the same 3-week break over the holidays this year that they did last year. But then they went, Christmas Eve episode. And now we're like, well, we don't know what's happening. So,
especially because they only posted up through, like, they told us when 5 and 6 were going to be after a certain point. But then they, stopped at 6. So we assumed that was the stopping point for the year.
Exactly, yeah. We assumed. But then Chapter 7... came out, and chapter 8 looks like it's coming out this weekend, so if chapter 8 now doesn't come out this weekend, I apologize, but so because we don't know when the episodes are coming, it makes it really hard for us to schedule these podcasts and to schedule guests for the podcasts as well. There are a couple of people that have been trying to get for several weeks, but because there's no, we don't know when anything's happening, and it's hard over the Christmas break as well because people are busy. So hopefully it will... hopefully they'll kind of post some sort of... or just kind of clear it up for us because it's... they started to follow the same similar schedule to last year, and then they just threw it out the window on Christmas Eve, so we don't know what's going on. So, shall we get to the episode?
Well, the World of Remnant first.
Oh, the World of Remnant, of course. The SheNoob Company. So, this kind of cleared up a lot of things about the SheNoob family in particular. And exactly how the evolution of the SheNoob Company came about. What surprised me is that the SheNoob family empire is actually only 2 generations old. It was Nicholas SheNoob, and then his son-in-law, Shark SheNoob, is now running the business. So it seemed like it was a much older thing than that. But thinking about that now, Weiss actually did say in Volume 1 that it was her grandfather's company. So that makes sense. But her grandfather was Nicholas Schnee, and he's Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, he's Santa Schnee.
Nicholas Schnee? Nicholas Snow? Really? Yeah, he's Santa Claus. And something I found interesting about him is that he went to combat school. So I'm starting to see a lot of him in Weiss, actually. She probably wants to live more by her grandfather's legacy. And when he founded the company, it was supposed to be about providing quality, affordable dust for all corners of Remnant. And now it's more about making money, because Jacques is a greedy bastard. So, and also he married into the Schnee family, which was really interesting, because he married Nicholas's daughter and then took the Schnee name, which doesn't happen. Men don't take their wives' names as a general rule. Yeah, but obviously,
if you're a greedy bastard, you do.
Yeah, he was coveting the Schnee Dust Company, and of course, it belonged to his wife. Yeah, so all of that was very interesting developments. It's funny, actually, because when we first saw Jacques' office in chapter 2... Yeah, I never remember which chapter is which. There's a portrait of Jacques when he was a bit younger on the wall, and he has black hair. And everyone was kind of going, oh, he had black hair, like, he can't be a Schnee then. And I was like, I think reading into it too much. But it turns out that was right. He wasn't born a Schnee, he married a Schnee. So, yeah, good observations by people there. It's something that I didn't even really think about.
Well, I remember thinking about it at the time because people were obviously talking about that. And I was like, well, but the wife still has white hair, so, like, you know, she could be the one who passed on, you know, that gene, like, doesn't necessarily... And we never saw what Nicholas Schnee looked like, or Grandpa Schnee at the time.
No, yeah.
So we didn't know if the white hair actually was, like, the Schnee thing. Or if it was just this generation of Schnee thing.
And, of course, as he's gotten older, his hair has turned white. Yeah, so... That was kind of an interesting look at how all of that works and how Jacques came to be in power. It also mentions, you know, the lengths he's gone to cut costs and jack up profits, you know, cheap labour and dangerous working conditions, and exploiting faunus labour as well. Yeah, and at the end, Qrow, who narrates all of the World Remnants, said the Schnee name means something, but as for what it'll mean tomorrow, no one like, who could say? And it shows Weiss, so just, you know, foreshadowing Weiss's part in all of this, which we'll get to after the first scene of the episode, which was the Oscar scene that everyone has been waiting for, confirming suspicions or discrediting theories and that. So this whole thing has me a little bit confused, just because I don't have enough information about this yet to really say exactly what's going on. But basically, Ozpin mentioned that him and Oscar have combined auras, and their souls are combined. Yeah, it's a little grey to say, like, what exactly that means. If it's like a situation where how they were going to combine Amber's aura with Pyrrha, but in saying that, Ozpin and Oscar were two separate entities. They were two separate people, with their own thoughts and memories, but everything about the two of them is connected. And Oscar wasn't even aware of this until Ozpin made him aware of this. But obviously Ozpin knew about this all along. So now there's an important question that needs to be asked. Is Ozpin actually dead?
that is honestly one thing I really thought about with this too. Is I was like, if their auras are combined, Ozpin actually died.
Yeah.
Like his aura is not. Because I think I said this last time. My working theory was about kind of a Horcrux type situation from Harry Potter. But now it seems like no, like his entire soul is in him.
Yeah.
And something else I think is really telling about kind of their situation is Ozpin tells him he went through the exact same thing.
Yeah, so...
That it happened to Oz too.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that, but like... This seems like the backup plan. Is this kid who is hidden away in the middle of nowhere working as a farm boy who lives with his aunt. We haven't heard about an uncle. Don't know what happened to his parents. This seems to me like the backup plan. Like Ozpin, you know, he had this in place in case something horrible did happen or he was killed. So I actually think he's dead. Like physically dead. And now this is his
reincarnation.
Basically, Oscar is his almost like his vessel, I think. So yeah, I'm wondering if this is some kind of like if anyone's played Tomb Raider 2013, if this is some kind of situation like with the Japanese queen where like it's a passing down of power from one vessel to the next. Because Ozpin does mention that he went through the same thing. I'm wondering if Ozpin is now passing down the power to Oscar that was passed down to him, that was passed down to them from someone else, and that it comes from the wizard that originally gave the maidens their powers. That's what I'm wondering now, because there's always been a connection between Ozpin and that wizard. A lot of people thought Ozpin was the wizard, and in a weird way this would mean that he kind of was, but just that he was inheriting that power, much like the maidens passed their power on.
I'm pretty sure I said that in an earlier episode where that was my working theory, was that Ozpin was, you know, if he was the wizard, he was going, or why would the wizard like allow the maidens to keep going on like this but not have himself do the same?
Yeah.
So I was kind of had that theory that the wizard's power worked the same way, sort of.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Something frustrated me about this scene, and it was that why is it when characters in films or television or whatever go through this kind of experience, they always just tell themselves it's not real? It drives me crazy. Like, what is, like... You know, because if it was me, because I've seen that many movies and television in my lifetime. If it was me, I'd be like, I just wouldn't react like that. It just drives me nuts that they always just try and convince themselves that it's not real. I'm like, you're wasting time. There's important shit to do. It drives me up the wall. I can't stand it. People always have the exact same reaction to that kind of thing. I hate it.
The thing that makes me even more confused is it sounds like Oscar wants to leave. Like he didn't want to be on this farm forever. He wanted an excuse to go. And like suddenly this voice in his head, this other voice appears and tells him, you need to go to Haven. And why doesn't he jump on that?
Yeah,
like,
no.
Why is he like, no, I'm crazy? Like he wanted a way out, and even if he's crazy, like this voice in his head is telling him to get out. Why not go?
It always happens like this. And to make another Star Wars comparison, it reminds me of Luke Skywalker. Like, he bitches and moans that he's stuck on Tatooine, and then when Ben tells him he's got to go to Alderaan, he's like, I'm not going to Alderaan. Are you crazy? Like, you just were complaining 10 minutes ago that you want to get off this planet, and now suddenly, ooh, I don't want to do that. It's so annoying. And it always goes like this. It's like, why wouldn't you pounce on that opportunity? Like, I wouldn't even care if I was actually crazy. I would jump the fuck on an opportunity like that. That would... man, it drives me insane the way characters react to those kinds of situations. And, like, you would think they would jump on any excuse, but, like, they bitch and moan and complain that they want to get out of their situation, and then when the opportunity is presented for a perfect excuse for them to get out of it, suddenly it doesn't seem like such a good idea. Because when they're actually presented with the opportunity to have what they want, suddenly it's all too much. And it's like, it doesn't, it annoys me. Every single plot always goes the same way, and it's so annoying. I just want to punch these characters in the face, because I'm like, what are you doing? If I was you. So anyway, all of that was really interesting, and there's a lot of development still to be had with that whole subplot with Oscar.
They're giving us little bits at a time.
Yeah, Ozpin's obviously going to have to further convince him. It looks like everybody's headed for Haven except for Blake and Yang, really. Or maybe Weiss. I don't know where Weiss is headed just yet, but
I do think by the end of the volume they'll all be heading there.
Yeah,
so.
I do agree. I don't see why Blake would need to go there. Unless she hears that the White Fang are on their way there.
Yeah, that's the thing, is this piece of evidence even added more fuel to my theory from last time, where, like, there's gonna have to be something that happens in Haven that brings a lot of people there. Yeah. And now not only is it all the members of Team Ruby, but now it's also bringing Oscar there.
Oscar, his Ozpin tag along, Tai Yang and Yang have a reason to go there because they're after Ruby. Qrow's with Ruby now. Raven and her posse probably will end up there somehow. But I'm wondering if Raven is going to change her mind, and because Qrow says to her, you should come back. You should help us fight the enemy. I'm still not convinced that she's above doing that. I still see reasons for her to change her mind. I hope that she does, because
she's too much about survival of the fittest right now.
Yeah, she
needs a little mindset switch.
Something has to happen with her character. Still something significant. So Yang and Tai Yang have a reason to be there. Team Sun are already there. The rest of Team Sun. Weiss would have a reason to go there. She can't go back to Beacon, obviously, and she doesn't want to stay in Atlas. So, and why would she go to Vacuo? So, the only logical choice really is Mistral. I'll talk more about Weiss in a second, because she was the next scene, and Ruby and Team Ranger are already on their way, and Qrow's already on his way, and Raven's probably already on her way, and Salem's posse are on their way. So, Hazel, not Hazel, Hazel. Yeah, he was heading.
No, Hazel's going to meet. He's heading to meet Sienna Khan. Dr. Watts is heading to Haven.
That's right, yeah. Watts is heading for Haven to, what's he doing?
Just to take up Cinder's role in whatever they need to do in Haven.
Preparations for blowing up Haven Academy or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is basically reason for everyone besides Blake right now to head for Haven Academy. I don't see how everyone's going to get there by the end of the volume. Because, like...
I don't think so.
If there's only 5 chapters left, there simply isn't enough screen time. And this volume has been significantly short compared to last volume. Like, the first 6 chapters were only, like, an hour and a bit long. An hour and 19 minutes, I think they are altogether. Which is very short. So, yeah, we'll have more of an idea as the chapters go on exactly where these people are going to end up before the volume finishes. But, yeah, in the long term, they're all headed for the same place. Excuse me, I just hiccuped. So, Weiss. This scene...
Well, I did want to bring up one more thing from the Oscar scene, is that they talk about the headmaster of Haven.
Yes.
And they mention he's a dude.
And also, it's autumn-coloured. The office, which is telling about the maidens. So Mistral's maiden is the autumn maiden, I suppose, is what that's hinting. Oh no, fall maiden was Vale, wasn't it? Amber, duh.
Yeah, I know.
So never mind what I said then. I'm already forgetting. I forget about Amber because she was there for 1 chapter and then she was dead 3 chapters later. It's like, so I always forget she existed.
because it's now Cinder, I always forget she's not the Summer Maiden. I was like, no Fall Maiden, no Fall Maiden, no Fall.
And you'd think we would remember that because Cinder Fall, but it's like, I always forget that Cinder is the Fall Maiden now, because she's very much in the background this volume as well. Yeah, so Weiss, this scene, a lot went on in this scene. So Weiss had a little outburst at the end of chapter 6. Not the end, in the middle of chapter 6. And obviously we knew that she was going to get in the shit from her father, but not quite to the extent that it went down. Oh man, Jacques is a piece of work. I really don't.
I hate him so much.
I hate him. So Weiss is, obviously very determined to escape her current circumstances. She hates that she's stuck back at home having to throw parties to all these shitty people that she doesn't like and hanging out with a shitty family that she doesn't like and not being able to do anything about it. One thing that really annoyed me was that Jacques said to her, I don't give a damn about what you want. And it's like...
I was so proud of Weiss when she stands up and goes, I want to leave. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. You can't keep me here. And he goes, bitch, yes, I can. Like... Basically,
yeah. That's not going to be the end of that for Weiss, though. She is downright determined that she's not living out her life in this fucking manner with these fucking people. She's like, I am going to be a huntress. And I don't care what I have to do to get there. So one other thing that Jacques Schnee said was, he said to her, running off like your sister isn't going to help our family. So he kind of gives away that he holds quite a bit of resentment towards Winter for her joining the military and basically saying she wants no part in any of her... what her family legacy is or whatever. She's totally not interested in any of that, which is probably why her and Weiss, they can level with each other because they feel the same way. He also said, you're my child and children are grounded when they misbehave. Last time I looked, Weiss is 18, she's legally an adult, so fuck you. Jacques. Yeah, he's basically treating her like a bratty, snot-nosed little bugger that is just, throwing a tantrum, which back in Volume 1 is precisely what she was, but now, I don't think that could be further from the truth. She genuinely cares about her family's legacy, and she genuinely cares that her father is fucking all of that up. Like she says to him, I've done everything. Man, that was a loud car.
That was such a loud car.
What's with the loud traffic in your area lately?
I don't know. I live on the edge of the desert.
I know, there's nothing there. I can't understand why there's so many loud cars, just recently. Anyway, rude interruption. But, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, she was saying that, I've done everything I thought was right to uphold my family name, and it's a name that you married into. So, she's saying, the Schnee family name is mine. It's not actually yours. You just took it, like you take everything from everyone. It's basically what she's expressing in that. You took my family name. I was born a Schnee, you married a Schnee. And she says, it's my legacy to leave. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. And then, of course, he snatches it away from her and says, okay, well, you're not the heiress anymore. You can hand it over to your brother Whitley. And she's forcibly stripped of her inheritance, just like that. And that is a huge blow to Weiss, obviously, because she really, really cares about taking on the SDC and making it a respectable company again, and doing and inciting change and going back to something more of her grandfather's legacy than her father's. And she cares so much about it that when it's taken away from her, I can imagine how she feels. That would hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she saw it coming. And I didn't see it coming. I didn't think that he would go to that extent. I kind of, as this scene went on, I was going, oh dear, this isn't good. But, you know, he then says, you know, you're going to hand the company over to your brother Whitley. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Like, are you crazy? And like, yeah, you are, because I told you are.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that he says is, she's like, you can't, you know, keep me here. You can't just, like, ground me. And he says, well, the staff are going to make sure that you stay here. Now, to do with the staff, Klein, right? I've had a suspicion that Klein is going to have some sort of hand in Weiss's eventual escape from her situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's part of the staff.
But it's not going to end well for him.
No, it's not going to end well for him. It's going to end badly for him. But him and Ironwood combined, I think, are going to be responsible for breaking Weiss out of her prison, as it now is.
Mm-hmm.
And her brother Whitley's an ass.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you full credit for calling this from the beginning. You, right from the get-go, you're like, I don't like him. He's shady. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, he was completely shady. He's another Jacques Schnee, which is not great.
Mm-hmm.
So, to Weiss's situation, I say the solution's simple. Kill them.
I know. Like, seriously, just kill them.
Kill them! Who needs family like that? My God.
Oh, God.
Just murder the fuckers. Stab them with Mertenaster. Speaking of Mertenaster, it's back. Finally.
I know.
I was so happy to see Mertenaster. I was like, yes! Oh my gosh.
I was also
so
surprised because I'm like, okay, he's just told you he's holding you captive. You're not allowed to leave. All this stuff, and yet your weapon is still sitting on the desk. I'm like,
grab it and
kill
stab
her
the
way out here
bastard.
if she wanted.
I mean, she wouldn't be able to get away with it though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, wow.
Also, I want to talk about the score in this scene. I was talking with Alex Abraham last night, and he scored this sort of Mirror Mirror Part 2 rendition for this particular scene. And it got me thinking about the words to that song. The specific part that was playing in the score was the ending lyrics are, the life I fought for is still isn't mine. And it's like, so you know, she's fought so hard to get to where she is, and she's trying so hard to cling to what freedom she has. And now everything's been taken away from her in this one moment, but she's still not going to give up. She's going to, you know, get her weapon out and train and be a badass until she can get the fuck out of there and go be a huntress again. But it's going to take some doing and some help, and she's going to need to. Yeah, we already know that Ironwood is probably going to be pretty willing to help her. And Klein as well. I just realised I forgot to mention at the beginning of the Boopcast that if you don't follow me on social media, you won't be aware, but I don't have a reaction video for Chapter 7. And the reason why is when I went to film it on Christmas morning, several technical issues in that my sound card crashed right as I went to start the episode, so it took me some time to get that working again. I didn't have my speakers, so Daniel and I had to wear headphones, which would have made editing difficult if the episode had stopped because I couldn't hear the feedback. Well, the episode stopped several times, so
as it does.
I thought, well, we've got the first half of the episode, I can upload that as a reaction and then just not the second half. But then when we finished watching the episode, I realized that at some point both the audio and the video had stopped recording, and I basically didn't have anything usable, because the video program had just turned itself off without saving anything, and the audio had stopped recording right as I got the sound card working again. So I'm really, really, really sorry. I know this was an awesome chapter and it was really important, and I don't have a reaction and I'm really pissed off. But, you know, unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry again. I'm going to try and talk to you about my reactions to certain things. Oh, well, I usually do anyway, but yeah. Basically, all I had was the Oscar scene and the Weiss scene, and for the entirety of the Oscar scene, we were just totally focused on the information we were being given, and yeah, not much to speak of there. Just basically really concentrating, and then the Weiss scene obviously was pretty upsetting, and a little bit shocking, and then Qrow versus Tyrion was incredible. So. I'm sure you've seen enough of my reactions to imagine how I would have reacted to these scenes. But I'm really sorry again that I don't have a reaction. I'm very sorry. I'm as pissed off as you are, trust me, probably more. Yeah, so the score here was awesome. I love Mirror Mirror Part 2, and I loved hearing a different version of Mirror Mirror Part 2. Yeah, so... this is not the end for Weiss. I'm not particularly worried about the STC being taken away from her. She's gonna fight for it. She's gonna fight for it until she gets it back, and she's gonna do whatever she thinks is necessary to do that. And I think like
that's going to be exposing the company. Like,
yes,
she knows a lot of their dirty secrets.
She does.
And yeah. If she gets out of there, she can air all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's going to have to play the next few moves very smartly, I think. Yeah, it's not over for her. So, the last scene of the episode was Qrow versus Tyrion. And since Chapter 6, I was so looking forward to this. And it was even better than I thought it would be, so that was awesome. It was epic. I loved it. I especially loved at the beginning when Qrow's like, yo, bitch, I don't know who the hell you are, but leave my niece alone. I was like, yes, Qrow! Yes! I love his relationship with Ruby. It's just adorable. From the very first minute when she was like, Uncle Qrow! I was like, oh my god, these two are so cute! So... I have to talk about the score during this fight, because the score was amazing! The score was awesome! And it goes through quite a few different motifs. It kind of starts off with Qrow's theme, and I love Qrow's theme. And then goes to what could be Tyrion's theme, but it hasn't really been confirmed. A little bit of Red Like Roses, back to Qrow's theme. Tiny bit of Let's Just Live in there as well. And there's a new rock song towards the end that, judging by the lyrics and the music, it seems to be a Qrow-centric song. Which is exciting, because I'd love to hear what a Qrow-themed rock song sounds like. It's really difficult to hear the lyrics because there's so much noise going on in the episode, because it's over the fight scene. I struggle to make out any words whatsoever. But it sounds really good. I like the sound of it, and I can't wait to hear more. So, favourite moments during the fight? Have you got anything written down there?
Ooh, favorite moment. Well, I mean, when Tyrion disarms Qrow, and then, like, in that moment, I was going, Ruby, throw him your scythe! Ruby, throw him your scythe! And then, instead, he's just like, nah. And I'm just like, or you can do that.
I love that he was just like, okay, and just beats the shit out of Tyrion. I was like, oh my goodness, he's such a badass. It's just like, I don't need my weapon, what the fuck? Like, just beat the shit out of you. Just punches him in the face. Tyrion's like, I didn't see that coming. Yes, that was probably my favourite moment too. Qrow just makes me laugh in general, just because he's so cocky and overconfident, really. He's just got such a, like, bow down bitches aura about him. I love it. So yeah, we talked about the auras. Both of their auras went down towards the end of the fight. And it was cool to see Ruby and Qrow working together very briefly in there. It's a nice little uncle-niece sort of moment. I want to talk about Qrow getting stung by Tyrion's stinger. Now, Tyrion's eyes are obviously central to his stinger, you know, however that works. But when he was going to sting Ruby with it, his eyes were purple. And her aura was down at that time, so I assume there's some kind of poison associated with the stinger, whether it's a sedative or whatever. But when he stung Qrow, his eyes were also purple. So I'm wondering if Qrow is like, has he been poisoned by Tyrion? Like, he didn't, you know, for a little graze, he seemed like it really hurt.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just not that used to dealing with pain, I don't know. But you think he would be, being a huntsman, but... yeah, it seemed like it was really painful just for a little... You know, he goes, I'll be fine, he just grazed me, but, like, he's really, you know... he could just be fucked from the fight, really. Or, you know, yeah, he seems like he was in a lot of pain, so... yeah, like, do we think he got poisoned? Like, is that now going to be a problem?
I think it's definitely either he definitely got poisoned because when Ruby cuts off the stinger, like you see that like there is poison in his stinger.
Yeah, it's purple
and everything.
And it's not blood, I don't think.
It's not blood.
Do scorpions
it's
have purple blood?
And like it. What?
I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna look up what color scorpion blood is because I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what kind of scorpion he's based on either. Yeah, you keep talking while I do this.
But I saw a person in the comments of the video on Mr. Teeth the day it came out talking about how Ruby cutting off his stinger was probably actually a very smart thing to do because if he is poisoned, they have the source of the poison right there, and having a strong source of the poison is like key to making an antitoxin. So, you know, if he ends up being poisoned, that stinger could be the key to making him survive.
Yeah. Certainly sounded like it hurt a lot. Yeah, I didn't expect Ruby to do that, but it was very smart of her. A smart thing to do, because, you know, Tyrion didn't expect her to do that. He was in a lot of pain.
I mean, she basically chopped off a limb.
Yeah, like it would be like getting, you know, a limb chopped off. Like, it would hurt a lot. Yeah,
and he called her, you bitch.
You bitch! Yeah, it's like, the second, you know, I mean, Nora said crap earlier on in the volume, but I don't really consider that a cuss word, or whatever you say, curse word or whatever. But, bitch is like... Ooh, like, you know, they don't have a rating, so they can basically do whatever they want. But, yeah, the show is getting more mature as it goes on as well. Like, him calling out you bitch directly after getting his stinger cut off, I think is appropriate. Yeah. Just because that whole thing is a little bit like, ooh, you know, a little bit grown up. So, lots of different things on here. Some people are saying their blood is colourless. Most accounts are saying that it's blue. So, yeah, the purple blood, obviously, something to do with poison. Or, well, it's probably not blood, but... yeah, so I'm wondering now if that's going to be a problem for Qrow. Like, if he gets poisoned, is he going to need help of some description, is that going to like put him out of commission? But one thing's for sure is that at the end of the episode he says, it's your favourite fairy tale. He's going to have to tell Ruby about the maidens and all of that kind of plot that's going on in the background, because she has no idea about any of it. Pyrrha was the only one who knew.
It's going to be a big thing for the rest of Ranger too, because Pyrrha knew, and this is why Pyrrha died.
I didn't even think about that. What? How have I not thought about that until just now? Oh my god! Is he going to have to explain? Oh my god!
It's going to give them a lot of clarity as to why Pyrrha sacrificed herself.
Is he?
It's going to be so important.
Is Qrow going to have to explain what Pyrrha died for? That's gonna be horrible. I didn't even think about that until just now.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll go out and explicitly say it though, but I feel like Jean will probably be able to piece together pretty easily with everything he saw and knows and witnessed, and just I think he'll be able to be like, oh, Pyrrha, and I think he'll be able to put the pieces together. Because
he was there when they tried to transfer Amber's aura into Pyrrha. He wouldn't have known what the hell was going on that whole time, and then she just disappears and gets killed, and he's probably all this time he's been like, what happened? I don't understand. So in a way it'll be awful for Qrow to have to explain that to them, but in another way it's gonna lift a lot of weight probably off of especially Jean's shoulders if he finds out exactly what was going on finally after all this time. But one way or another he is going to have to explain the maidens to Ruby, and hopefully he's going to tell her a bit more about her Silver Eyes power as well, because he's not told her really anything about that. So it's going to be a lot of interesting developments next chapter to do with all of that sort of bigger plot that's going on. He's also going to have to explain who Salem is to them. And the thing that worries me...
She did hear in the episode Salem's name.
Yeah.
He did say Salem, and she was like, who?
Who? Yeah. The thing that worries me is that once Ranger finds out that all of this is going on and has been the whole time, that they're going to want to get involved. And I'm like, don't get involved. Leave it to the professionals, for fuck's sakes. Because if Ozpin's dead, if a maiden can kill Ozpin, Team Ranger don't stand a chance. You just stay out of this entire thing. Don't go anywhere near that. Ugh.
But Ruby's Silver Eyes affects the maidens. It gives... if back in the first episode, Salem says that, being a maiden comes with a great burden and whatever, and that's why she was weak to Ruby and all this.
Associated with it, yeah. She wasn't specific about that weakness, but... gonna be some plot-related developments next chapter to do with the maidens and all that sort of shit.
I hope we see Yang.
Yes, we saw Weiss and Ranger and Oscar this episode, so more than likely we will see Yang next week and more Ranger. I think Blake will have to wait until chapter 9 at this stage, and I don't think we'll see Weiss again just yet.
Plus, we saw Blake. Blake had an entire episode to herself.
Yeah, Blake had
she had
a whole
all
chapter
of episode
to
5.
Blake can go away for a minute. I've had enough Blake now. Put the other girls in there. They need some. Even though Ranger has had quite a bit of screen time, but they are more or less the main focus.
And they haven't really gone anywhere.
No, they haven't really gone very far at all. Just now, I think, is when their plot is going to start to get really interesting. And I think Weiss maybe will show up again in chapter 9, but probably not till chapter 10. I don't think.
I just can't see how they're going to have enough time to do stuff this volume.
No, it seems like there's so little time left, unless they do a bit of time jumping in people's if they time jump a little with Blake and Weiss, and just sort of accelerate Weiss's escape and Blake's eventual conflict with Adam. I feel like Blake's storyline is going to get accelerated now. They're going to... Because, you know, when we last left her, she was in Menagerie, reconnecting with her parents. And the Fox twins were going to go tell Adam that she's there. So now I feel like they're going to jump a bit with her and accelerate things. And her plot line is going to start to build towards the end now. Weiss has still got a little bit more to go, I think. And Yang has got probably the furthest to go. In terms of plot and character development. We haven't even seen her like training with Tai Yang yet. There's still a while to go before she gets on the move. So concerned with how much screen time there is left.
Yeah, that's why I think that they can't possibly only have 12 episodes. Yeah. Or 12 chapters. I'm like, there's just not enough time. They need 14, 15 episodes. There's just... It's been so slow, and I finally feel like now they're getting somewhere.
But it's more than halfway through. And they're only just now picking it up. To be fair, in Volume 3, things really didn't start to pick up until Chapter 9, probably.
Well, Chapter 6.
Chapter 6
I feel like Chapter 6 was really the turning point.
Chapter 6 was the turning point, certainly, but then 7 was a lot of backstory, and then 8 was slow again. That was a lot of, dealing with current situations more than actually developing plot. And then Chapter 9 was when all hell broke loose. And then, remember when, in Chapter 10, we were like, there's no way they're going to wrap this up in 3 chapters, and then they did. So yeah, I imagine they're going to have quite a lengthy finale for this volume, like they did last volume. They're going to have to make up screen time, because there's probably going to need to be a little bit of everything in the finale, and you can't fit a little bit of everything into 19 minutes. It's not going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. Probably see Yang and Ranger next chapter, and I don't imagine next chapter's going to be very long either, because chapters 7 and 6 were about the same length, and they were about 15 minutes each. So it depends on what they do with Yang, though. I think Ranger's segment will maybe be 4 minutes, and then I think the rest of the episode will be focused on Yang. I think Yang will
but I still feel like they could. I feel like it'll be a lot like episode 4 in that way, where it'll be I still feel like we'll probably get a 15, 16-minute episode.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like 12, 13, maybe. But, I feel like chapters 6 and 7 have been quite exciting episodes, so now it's gonna go back down to, as you said, exposition sort of stuff. Yeah. Is that everything? I feel like we more or less covered everything.
Well, I did have one thing about the fight with between Qrow and Tyrion, is I was frustrated by how little Ranger did and how Ruby still kept going in. It's and why they let her, because it's her aura is down.
Yeah.
Why are you guys letting her go like this?
Oh, there's also
it was one thing when she was sniping.
There's also the question of how long does it take aura to go back up? Because we've never had any sort of confirmation for that. How long does it take after aura is depleted for it to go back up to not necessarily full, but I don't know, because it's I was frustrated by how little Ranger did. To be fair, Nora and Ren did try to help and got their butts kicked, and then Qrow was stay out of it, you're just going to get in the way. Which I think they were aware of. I think they just wanted to, step back, Qrow's got this, let's just not get in the way. I think Ruby, the reason she kept going back in was because she did feel like it was her fight. Which she said to Qrow, this is my fight too. I don't think...
But your aura is down.
I know,
you
but
could die.
I don't think Jean, Nora, and Ren could have done much to stop her from going back in. But also, like, they're aware that he needs her alive. So Tyrion doesn't intend on killing her because he needs her alive. So, yeah. This is the kind of fight scene that I've been waiting for all volume. This was really, really well animated. Like, really well animated. And it was fast-paced and, like, it was very reminiscent of the older style of fight scene from volumes 1 and 2. Yeah, I really enjoyed this fight. It also kind of reminded me of Qrow versus Winter as well. That sort of fast-paced, you know, huntsman versus huntsman, just like clashing, and you know, two people who are insanely good at what they do, just having it out with each other, and that's really cool to see. But not just like, it was very well choreographed compared to some of the fight scenes we saw in volume 3 and 4. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought the animation was fantastic as well, and the score was amazing. So, yeah, this was definitely my favourite so far for the volume. So props to the animation team for that one. My goodness. It was really cool. I wasn't expecting, you know, I've come to expect not necessarily a lower grade of fight scene, but definitely different to how the fights used to be. Because, you know, they don't have Monty around to animate them anymore, so obviously they're going to look different. But this one exceeded my expectations. I was very pleasantly surprised by how good it was. I'd actually like to know who animated it. It probably says in the credits, but I haven't actually looked. I'll look later. Yeah, I was really impressed. I really enjoyed it. And Qrow's new model doesn't look weird either, which I'm very happy about. Actually, Alex told me he was watching one of our previous Boopcasts last night, and he said, because I must have mentioned how I don't like Ironwood's new model, and I hate his stubble, and he berated me for saying that, because you know, it just looks weird on him, but yeah. So, I think that's basically everything we're going to talk about. Hopefully we'll have a guest with us next week. Depending on how schedules work out. It's also short notice again, but... yeah. So that was chapter 7. It's quite full on. I love a good chapter like this when there's just loads of crap going on. Because, it contrasts the episodes where not so much happens. Chapter 5. Yeah. Shortest chapter ever. So yeah. To reiterate, if you want to ask questions for the Boopcast, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, Cory11333, SheNoob087, and subscribe to Cory's channel because he does reactions to Ruby and other cool stuff as well. He doesn't have chapter 5 or 6 up yet. I don't have chapter 6 up yet. Sorry, I'm still editing.
Just so busy.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's the end of the year. We're busy as fuck. So, yeah, the videos are going to come late, but they will be here eventually. And subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the Boopcasts and that when they come out. And yeah, thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week. If chapter 8 comes out this weekend, this will probably be Friday.
We already shot ourselves in the foot by saying we'll see you next year. It's not next year yet.
I was like kind of annoyed when I found out they were putting chapter 7 up on Christmas Eve. I was like, A, why? And B, damn you! Like, why can't you just stick with your schedule? But, you know, it's Rooster Teeth. They do whatever they want.
And we got more Ruby, so who's complaining?
Yeah, well, I was grateful to have an episode, but at the same time I was like, I was mentally prepared for the break, and then you did that, and now everything's all screwed. And now we've got to do podcasts when we thought we wouldn't have to. And it's tricky too, because we have been busy this week, so... yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and you can go to a link in the description to go to the channel's Patreon page, and if you're feeling generous, you can give a little bit every month to help the Boopcast continue on, and yeah, stuff and things. There's rewards on there, so check them out if you think they look cool. Yeah, we will see you next week, maybe, we think. I don't know. I'll tweet.
Hopefully.
So follow me on
It'll
Twitter.
be up whenever.
Yeah.
A few days after the episode goes up.
It may not go up, you know, this Boopcast and the next Boopcast may not go up when they would usually go up. Don't panic. They'll be up eventually. Just working the schedule around.
Scheduling.
The Christmas and the New Year is kind of tricky. So, yes, we'll see you whenever that comes out. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Roll credits.